Okay, so with Father's Day being today, I've been doing a lot of thinking, thinking about the my darling husband and the father of my little ones, and just keeping tabs and noticing those little things I normally would not pay attention to. And I think here's the thing I keep landing on. When someone shows up, I feel like, when someone shows up for you the same way, every day, every single day for years, it stops looking like a big deal, right? It just becomes the way things are meant to be. It becomes like the norm, right? Not because you stopped caring about them, but I think it's because it sort of becomes the floor you're standing on, and you don't really look down at the floor, you know, to notice if things are well or not, So um, I want to look down for a minute today and just acknowledge him, right? I want to look down for a minute today and just acknowledge him, in the different ways, in the different way it shows up, right? I think one thing keeps coming to mind. I think there was a night when my little boy was sick, and I'd been home all day with the kids, just holding everything down, holding everything together, and I was running on empty. He had been at work, and he came back home late from work. He was tired, the kind of tired you can see on someone's face, and he didn't sit down. I saw him pick up our son, and he took him straight to the ER. And in my very confused and overwhelmed or tired state, I still wanted to be with my son and just make sure everything was fine. I remember the dad told me to not bother and just stay with his sister and get some rest and also just recover from all the stress, right? And he promised I was going to handle it, right? Just all those little things that we tend to overlook. I will never forget that because he also had nothing left either. He was also running on empty, and he gave what he didn't have, right? Um, yeah, you know, that's the parts I think we miss. I know we don't really miss the big gestures, the big grand gifts and stuff, right? Um, but the ordinary carrying, right?